Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
And this is Cinema Classics.
Oh, yeah.
And we're at the Gateway Film Center.
We are.
And we're talking, for whatever reason, today.
Well, I'll give you 3 reasons.
Yeah, okay.
American Sniper.
Okay.
Fury.
Right.
And Unbroken.
Got it. So war movies.
That's we're talking war movies.
Catch on fast.
And look at your outfit.
Yeah, look at this.
So let's go with that.
All right.
But I'd like to start off by saying, can you beat All Quiet on the Western Front? I am not sure. That's World War I.
Okay. I got 2 things to say.
All right.
One is, last week you made a very startling confession about Rosemary's Baby. Showing a class.
So embarrassed.
Yeah. So I have an embarrassing confession.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
All Quiet.
That's okay. But it is...
That is really, it's an appalling oversight. I should have seen that movie.
You have seen Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, and so they're analogous in the sense that probably no 2 movies have ever been more realistic.
Okay.
And that one is about trench warfare, in the First World War, and the grimness of it. And I remember Spielberg saying that his Omaha Beach sequence was X-rated. He said worse than NC-17.
Yeah.
He said, but it had to be. It had to be that. He had to show that.
Sure.
And so anyway.
The horrors of that. I think people might have kind of in their memories glossed over or never really confronted the horrors of
we talked.
I have a question and a theory. The question goes hand in hand with the theory. I believe that every generation has a war movie that opens their eyes to the horrors of war. Particularly for guys who have never served.
Right.
For me, that movie was Platoon in
Good
1986.
one. Good one.
It hit me at just the right time. I was in high school, and it was when I was just becoming aware of my love for cinema and what cinema could do. It was one of the first dramas that I went to see repeatedly. I must have seen that movie 5 times, and I loved that. And it really sort of it made me think, good Lord, I don't think I could do that. Yeah. Was there a movie like that for you?
Yeah, I have 2. More contemporary, along the lines of what you're talking about, would be Black Hawk Down.
Okay.
In which fighting in the city.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when you were younger.
Okay. When I was younger, the one that truly hit me was 1979, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And the phantasmagoria, as Poe might have said it, of war, drove right home to me.
Yeah.
I said, there's nothing glamorous about this.
Right.
And it brought home to me this Saddam Hussein kind of world that Brando's character exemplified toward the end of the river. What are we aiming? What is all this war going toward? It's going, of course, toward a megalomania.
Right.
And so that Apocalypse Now, plus its Coppola's way of showing the craziness of war, the darkness, the claustrophobia.
Now, if I'm correct in assuming, that's an adaptation of your favorite
book. Thank you, sir.
Heart of Darkness?
Heart of Darkness. Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. You are so right. I almost forgot that. Why did I like Apocalypse Now so much? I love it because of the Heart of Darkness.
Based on your favorite book.
So Conrad's Kurtz, analogous to Brando's character.
Sure.
So when you ask me, it's a great question, and I think that one hit me visually. This is what films can do.
Yeah.
I know it's representational, it's exaggerated perhaps, but it still stays with me as images of war, just as it might, Saving Private Ryan, the opening sequences on Omaha Beach might stay with people forever. So there are those.
So some of these great war movies, how do this new crop of films measure up?
Well, yeah, because I was going to respond to your Platoon. and saying, how does Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, those are, within the last 4 or 5 years, those are two big war films. Well, how do you feel that, along with Platoon, and then the ones we've talked about, how do they fit?
Hurt Locker, I feel, fits more in with what those movies are about, which is giving the audience this sort of, a horrific bird's eye view, or and sometimes a more intimate look.
And I love that word. I think you are absolutely right. The difference between the sweeping all Quiet on the Western Front
and the more intimate,
and the more intimate,
putting you in the shoes of the soldiers on the front line.
And you'll see it with American Sniper.
Yeah,
it's really the Bradley Cooper character, who was a real life person.
Right.
It's really from his point of view. So you've narrowed your warfare down into the very personal.
Right. And I think those are, like, for me, that's much more effective than something like Zero Dark 30, which was almost a procedural in some ways.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
There are other war movies that are extraordinarily powerful that don't have anything to do with the front lines, but Coming Home. You remember that?
Oh yeah, sure. John Boyd, is it?
Yeah, John Boyd is a soldier that has returned. The Deer Hunter.
Yeah, good one.
Which kind of examines the before, during, and aftermath of, the psychology of war.
Well, some would even throw in The Searchers.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't.
No, and it's not a war film, but of course he is coming from the Civil War, so it's kind of interesting. Before I forget it, the current issue of Atlantic, the Atlantic magazine, has a front cover article by James Fellows that says, why does the best army in the world continue to lose its battles? And it's about contemporary warfare. And just by way of saying this is somewhat our topic, I have not read anything that so well expresses that tension between civilians and military. And it's absolutely brilliant. So, and I think in a way we're talking about it now as we zero in on the individual as opposed to the grander scheme.
Sure.
But that's of course what's made these wars, these recent wars in Vietnam so perplexing, is that we're not all involved.
Yeah. As
we were with World War II and maybe even World War I.
Right.
So you were.
I mean, it's hard to avoid. It was hard to avoid World War II. And it's easier, I think, in some ways, to turn a blind eye toward the current conflict because of the distractions we have, because there's just the constant feed of information and distractions and movies and television shows, and I mean we can avoid it. I mean, there are some people I think that just completely don't know what's going on.
And that's what Fallows points out is one of the problems is that we just leave those wars. Yeah. Send the money, send them over to fight in wars they can't possibly win. Yeah. Afghanistan being the primary example. And so if you look at, if you put together the Unbroken and the letters from Iwo Jima, you see that we attempt to get to the other side. I guess Unbroken doesn't really. The Japanese prisoner of war camp is a conventional view. You have your soldier here, and then you have your oppressor there. Now, Eastwood tried to get.
Yeah, he tried to get in on the other side.
On the other side, and I think he did a great job. Yeah. Though not maybe one of his greatest films. Right. But if you're looking at, as we're talking about it, I'm thinking, there are other ways than just a kind of chauvinistic raising your flag look. There's an attempt.
I got a question for you. I see a movie on this list, Schindler's List. Is that a war movie?
Preferably, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it applies to our thesis about how the modern attempt to look at the individual, and in this case Schindler, as hero. But yeah, there's not.
It's interesting, right? Yeah. Like if a story is taking place during a war, but doesn't involve directly, the story of fighting soldiers, is it a war movie?
Yeah. I mean, is John Wayne's The Alamo?
Well, you keep trying to shoehorn these westerns into this conversation. That's interesting.
There's a great one that everyone should see.
Yeah, what's that?
That came in 1925.
1925.
Yeah.
Wings.
Everyone should see.
Wings?
Wings is a good one too to think about. But this one is the daddy of them all for montage, the battleship Potemkin.
Oh, yeah, right. The Russian.
Yeah.
Well, the Odessa Steps sequence alone
Yes.
found its way into a number of other movies.
And it's thought to incite the populace as a film.
Right.
The Russians, of course, were very concerned about it, inciting riots.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't think, bringing this conversation to a close, I don't think that we have seen the next great post-Saving Private Ryan war movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we have seen the movie that has really spoken to a generation concerning our current conflict in the Middle East.